Okay, so we will continue with our discussion on information flow diagrams. As I have already told you, drawing an information flow diagram will help you before you start the system simulation, though it may not be required for simulating systems with just 2 or 3 components, either if the number of components is exceedingly large or there is too much of a coupling between all the components of a system, which you will understand by an example I am going to discuss in a little while. So in these cases, so it always helps to draw an information flow diagram. So I will just give you a problem on information flow diagram. Please take this down. So this is the problem number what? Problem number 1 is it? 3. Okay, let us say problem number 3. A closed plastic container used to serve coffee in a seminar hall. A closed plastic container used to serve coffee in a seminar hall is made of 2 layers, with an air gap between them, List all the heat transfer processes associated with the cooling list all the heat transfer processes associated with the cooling of the coffee in the inner plastic vessel. Draw an information flow diagram for the system. What steps will you take? For a better container design? What steps will you take for a better container design so as to reduce the heat loss? Can we have the screen? Okay, the same problem has been given. So I have asked 3 questions. Basically the first part is list all the heat transfer processes, second part is draw an information flow diagram, the third part is what steps would be necessary or what steps would be required to ensure that the coffee is kept as hot as possible for a long period of time. Okay. So don't worry about the free convection, the free surface and all that. Let's assume that it's fully Is it a steady state problem or unsteady problem? Is it a steady state problem or unsteady problem? Unsteady problem. Assuming that the coffee is well mixed, there are no temperature gradients within the coffee. So the temperature of the coffee how is it expected to vary? Decreases, that we know. Exponentially, okay. They will have a thickness. Yeah, make it as complicated as possible, and so. So let us say inner plastic vessel, shall I give you some more time or are you through with this? What did I say apart from this? A close is made of 2 layers. Okay, so there is an air gap, right? What is this now? Ambient, okay. Is it a one-way path or a two-way path? Huh? No, I have constraints of space, that's why I went in for a zigzag. You can just start from left and go to right, or start from top and go to the bottom. Okay, so now what are the heat transfer processes associated? Inner vessel to layer 1. Okay, let's okay, Q convection. Radiation from coffee possible, but I think coffee, if coffee is consisting of 90% water, it's highly absorbing and you don't worry about scattering and Raman spectroscopic effects and all. Okay, so so let's forget about that. So layer 1 to layer 2, layer 1 to air gap. What convection? Huh? Conduction, correct. Air gap to layer 2, air gap to layer 2, natural convection, okay, yeah. So layer 2 to ambient, layer 2 to ambient, no conduction, convection and radiation, correct. Okay, so this is tea coffee or T1 whatever. No, there will be some natural convection, right? Then you want to consider conduction within the layers. Just leave, that's what if you want you can consider. So I am trying to make it simple, you can make it complex if you want. Now let's answer the more important question. Inner vessel to layer 1. Some people say that there won't be any convection. What is your opinion? There could be natural convection, but where are the temperature gradients? If we assume that, huh? No. See, but that layer, the layer will come to an equilibrium temperature which is between the coffee temperature and the outside. So if that temperature difference is sufficient to cause a velocity which is greater than 0, then it is possible for you to have Q convection. So you can say Q convection stroke Q conduction without any loss of accuracy or whatever. Is that fine? Now, so list all the heat transfer processes associated with the cooling of the coffee in the inner plastic vessel. So you can now imagine that even a very apparently silly and simple problem like this, there are so many heat transfer processes associated with this. You can write a differential equation and put it on MATLAB and try to solve, and whether it is required or not is another matter, but it is possible for us to model. What you are trying to do is you are trying to model this even before you start the simulation. So modeling precedes the simulation and simulation precedes the optimization. This is the story we are going to look at throughout this course: modeling, simulation, followed by optimization. Now the tea of the coffee is generally not under our control. We don't want to make it too hot and this thing. You cannot overheat the coffee so that it gets spoiled, or water boils at 100 degrees centigrade at 1 atmosphere pressure, correct? So probably the coffee temperature will be 60 or 70. What is the temperature at which you drink the coffee? 50. Okay, it will be around 45 or 50 degrees centigrade. So probably you may keep it at 55 or 60 so that it stays on for some time. Now the ambient temperature is 30 or 35. Both are not under your control, right? Now we have drawn the information flow diagram. Of course we have not written the equations. You can put f of thickness, this thing, and h and whatever. Let us not worry about that. We are looking at step 3. But before that, Raghav has a question. What?
It's a closed plastic container.
That layer, I am considering all this. Heat loss on the top will be there. Okay? Yeah, what was he saying? Okay. So what are the steps which you would take to design a better container to reduce the heat losses so as to keep the coffee as hot as possible? Yeah, what can you do now? Huh? Mirror.
You can evacuate a coat of metal polished metal.
Why? Reflect heat. What is this? You undergone heat transfer. What are you saying? Be more precise. We cannot reflect heat and all that. Huh? Radiation. We are not considering radiation inside. Okay, the outside of the container can be highly polished or whatever. So it is dull. I mean, it is highly polished so that its emissivity is very low. Okay. So possible steps. For the same volume, you can make it a tall container. 1 second. You can make it a small tall container so that what happens? So that the air layer actually consists of a slender and tall. It is actually a slender and tall layer so that you reduce the natural convection. Are you getting the point? So if you look at natural convection, if you have a cavity like this, so there is a closed cavity, there is a heated wall on the left side, there is a cooled wall on the right hand side, top and bottom are adiabatic. So if this gives some amount of heat, the same thing, suppose if you have to do like this, no sorry, now what happens is this results in what is called a multicellular pattern. When you have multicellular pattern, there is a resistance to the flow of heat, and therefore the convective heat transfer coefficient reduces. So you can redesign the shape use better insulation material. And so on. Are there any other point? Any other points?
Remove the air from the air capture, make it vacuum.
Oh, that is very difficult. Yeah, if you can do that, that is a vacuum flask, whatever. Okay, so try to maintain vacuum. By the way, the air gap to layer 2, you can also have radiation, right? Correct? Actually, you start probing deeper and deeper, then this problem itself gets messier and messier. But we'll have to leave it at some stage. There was a question. Okay. You thought about the radiation? Vacuum. Okay. So these are some of the steps which can be taken.
But in an information flow diagram, what information, how do we decide what information?
I already told you whatever is critical, whatever is required in order that you will be able to write a computer program, that alone is required. Okay.
So in this, the temperature is not what we want to heat.
Temperature. No, heat. The rate of change of temperature with time. That's what you want to model. The temperature is an input. The initial temperature of the coffee is known, but the temperature of the coffee at various instants of time t is your unknown in the problem. Okay, that you want to model. Are you getting the point?
So the temperature of the coffee as a function of time, it depends on all the boxes. So how is it how can we say information is flowing in one diagram but the initial T is being affected by the things which are there?
That's okay, everything is, but I am saying it is not
downstream
a,
of the information.
it is not a, there is no feedback loop, because inside is hot, outside is cold, all the heat is flowing from inside to outside, there is no question of something coming back. Are you getting the point? This is different from the vapor compression system where the, again from pump the loop is completed. Here there is no refrigerant or something which flows continuously. So that is the difference between between a sequential arrangement and an arrangement like this. Okay. Let us consider one more problem and then we will close our discussion on information flow diagrams and we will proceed to system simulation. Yes, please take down this diagram. So problem number 4. Consider an electric furnace as shown in the figure. Problem number 4. Consider an electric furnace as shown in the figure. Draw an information flow diagram for the furnace. Consider an electric furnace as shown in the figure. Draw an information flow diagram for the furnace. Okay. So I will quickly explain the situation to you. So this is a furnace. There is a material which is kept inside which has got to be heated. The heaters are placed, strip heaters, radiative, which will radiatively heat the material and it may also convectively heat. I am not going to give you all the clues. So these are all pasted on the top wall of the furnace. Okay, so there are gases inside which separate the material from the walls and also from the heater. You have got an insulation, you have got a wall, and then there is an insulation. So material, heater, wall, insulation, and finally there is heat loss to the ambient. Now please draw an information flow diagram for this. Please take 5 minutes. I hope you have got the solution. Okay, so this is the solution to the problem. So please, so we will have to write, we have to put everything in the form of blocks. So you have got the material, you have got the heater, you have got gases, you have got wall, you have got insulation, you have got the ambient. Since radiation, see, radiation does not necessarily flow from a body at high temperature to a body at low temperature. Any body which is at a temperature greater than 0 Kelvin, there will be a radiative transfer, so there will always be a dynamic equilibrium. So whenever radiation is there, you have to have a two-way arrow. Okay. So if you look at the material, okay, so material material to the gases or from the gases, material to the wall or from the wall, from the heater to the gases or from the gases, heater to the wall, but heater to material can also be there, right? Okay, so one arrow is missing, probably you should have an arrow here. Okay, from the wall again you can have to the gases, correct, and then from the wall to the insulation, but there is no need for a two-way arrow, right? So because from the wall will be hotter, and from wall to insulation, and from insulation to the ambient. Okay, then you have to write down the governing equation for each of these components, and you can model, and then you can find out the temperature response of the material with respect to time. If you solve this equation given the initial conditions, if it is a lumped capacitance model, then if the temperature of the material is only a function of time and not a function of the spatial coordinates, you can solve for the temperature as a function of time, and with the given initial condition you can march in time and find out the temperature as a function of time. Is that okay? So this is the first step. Once a problem is given to you, draw an information flow diagram and identify all the processes, then give the mathematical equations for the various processes, model them, and then you can go in for the simulation. All right? Okay. Okay, now we will start with system simulation. So basically one component so you can have one component system which is pretty straightforward, then you can have a two component system, then n component system. For the purposes of this course we will deal with only one component and two component systems. It will be very difficult for you to solve a system consisting of more than two components. Okay. Now system simulation may mean solving a set of equations which control the phenomenon which is taking place. If the system consists of more than one component, then you have to assemble the equations which govern the performance of which govern the performance for each of these components. Now this can be at various levels. You can have just algebraic equations which give you the performance of the system, or these can be governed by ordinary differential equations, or these can be governed by linear partial differential equations, or these can be governed by non-linear partial differential equations if you have got equations of fluid flow and heat transfer, that is a Navier-Stokes equation of energy. If you consider a participating gas, if you want to model the atmosphere, if you want to model the radiation through the atmosphere, you have to consider the equation of transfer in the atmosphere which is called RTE, radiative transfer equation, which becomes an integral differential equation. Okay, so you can just start off with system simulation and hijack the course completely to a course in mathematics. Okay, but since differential equations, partial differential equation, how to solve a Laplace equation, how to solve a Poisson equation, and what is boundary layer theory are taught elsewhere, we look at only algebraic equations where the focus is on assembling of more than one component. That will be the focus. Otherwise system simulation itself, whatever I am teaching is far from being complete, because if I have to teach you really system simulation up to partial differential equations, non-linear partial differential equation, I have to go, but that is not central to the theme of the course. This course is a course on optimization, but to do optimization you have to do simulation. In order to do simulation you have to solve a system of equations. So if we spend a lot of time in solving the partial differential equation, then we will get lost. So we will restrict our attention to generally algebraic equations, and to add a little spice we will make them non-linear algebraic equations. Okay, because many of the components, for example if you have a compressor, turbine and all this, the performance can be related, the dependent variable can be related to the independent variable in terms of simple non-linear algebraic equations. So with that in mind, I will teach you basically two methods. Okay, successive substitution okay, successive substitution. consider an equation like this. Consider an equation x equal to 2 sin x. Can it be analytically solved? Can it be analytically solved? Is it a linear equation? Is it a quadratic equation? What sort of an equation is this? It is a transcendental equation. Has to be solved iteratively. Okay. So we can rewrite that equation as f of x you can rewrite the equation as f of x equal to x minus 2 sin x. So the goal is to make f of x 0 and we have to determine where this happens. This or these are the solution or solutions to this problem. If you want to do successive substitution, so if you want to do successive substitution, you have to write an algorithm for this. Correct? You have to write an algorithm for this and then either do hand calculation with your paper, pencil and calculator or go to the computer and do it. So what will be the algorithm for this?
We will vary x from -2 to 2 and have small increments.
That is a very desi way of doing it. Yeah, it may work. But you have to get a little more threateningly formal. How do you write the algorithm? Make a guess. Right in terms of mathematical, right? Hit the bullseye. Huh? That is Newton-Raphson method. You learned from some other course. So I am asking about successive substitution. How do you write the algorithm? Choose an arbitrary x. Everything. Write the algorithm. This is the algorithm. So start with x1, get x2, start x with x2, get x3, start where do you stop? Okay, so this is the algorithm. So I can put serial number, this is the iteration number x of I plus 1, then this is some kind of a norm. So whenever the fourth column goes on to a reasonably small value, I can stop my iterations and I can be happy that I got the solution, and then I can go home. Solve this now. When x is in radians, please solve this. Take an initial guess xi. I will give you 5 minutes. So if we start doing the iterations, so we start with a value of 1. Please remember, so x is in radians. So let us go to the 7th or 8th iteration. Is there somebody who already got the answer? Tell me the iteration number.
8.
Good. 8.
1.902.
902. Okay. 1.902.
Norm is 2.9 into 10 to the
No, no, this one.
No, that is.
Yeah, with 1 point you do again. Abhinandan, do it again.
1.89.
Okay. Yeah. Norm is. So this is called the norm, huh? 1 into?
Roughly 1 into 10 power minus 4.
Okay. So as you can see, after a few iterations the method of successive substitution works, but the problem is if there is a function which changes very rapidly, then there is a possibility that the method of successive substitution may miserably fail. So when the gradients are very sharp and so on, if you start with a wrong guess, then you may end up with the wrong, you may end up with a solution which diverges. I mean, we are not able to proceed further. So the method of successive substitution is not a universal cure. It is not a universal panacea where you can solve all problems with this, but simple problems can be solved with the help of this successive substitution. Okay. So I would like to demonstrate this with can I get with MS Excel. Okay. Somebody said we will use that Desi technique. We'll list x. We'll draw two curves. That's what I am doing now. Graphical you can do only for two. I mean, if there are if it gets successive substitution can be used for any number of variables. Are you getting the point? I will teach you. From one equation you calculate x1, the other equation you calculate x2, from this equation you calculate x1, you go back. Okay. So there is a way to automatically get 0.2, 0.3 and all that, right? Okay, good. So what is the first equation is equal to? What? Correct? It's all radians only. There we are. So this is the solution to the problem. This is what he said. So it is possible to, I should not come here. So it is possible to solve graphically. So this is what we ask, lot of questions. This is what we ask the students in the Viva OC and interviews and all that. They are not able to. Suppose I say x equal to 2 sin x. How will you solve it graphically? I mean, they don't know. We usually say x equal to 2 sin x. Solve by any method known to you. Successive substitution is one. You can plot and also. But this fellow will go up and down like this, right? This fellow will go straight. So there are probably, how many solutions are there?
3.
Which is the third solution?
3.
Yeah, okay. When if x is positive, there are two solutions. Of course, the trivial solution is x equal to 0. If you put tan x and all that, it will become more dicey and all. Okay, so this is a good. This gives you an idea of how the method of successive substitution works. The same problem can also be solved using a Newton-Raphson method, which we will see in the next class. Now I will stop here. In the next class, we will take a heat transfer problem and use the method of successive substitution, and then we will go to a problem where we use successive substitution for a system consisting of two components, which is directly related. For example, a piping and duct system, okay, piping and fan.